It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Inside the Patch, it's Gnarley Charley, and we are brought to you by 1430 ESPN, your Valley Sports leader. And I'm excited about this year. I've got Mitchell Adams with me from last year, and we are about to embark on the new Las Vegas Raiders season. And Mitch, let me brag about you first. Let me tell you how Al Davis gave you a job one time. I met you when you did the Legends show at the Coliseum, Oakland Coliseum, for many years. At halftime, he'd bring in Raider players, ex-players, and Mitch would interview him in front of everybody, and it was just so cool. And now he's invented the perfect rotation of basketball training device. Where is it? There it is. And Mitch, I just thank you for being with us again this season. Tell me what's happening, Mitch.
Gnarly, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. This time of year is a great time of year. Oh my goodness, I wish the season had already started. You know, this 1 week between preseason and the regular season, or excuse me, the week off between the regular season and preseason. It's like a kid at Christmas. You know, you go to bed and you're like, I can't sleep. Well, you know, when is Santa coming?
Right.
That's what I feel, man. And tomorrow, you know, we get that Thursday night game, and you get your football legs under you, and it's a good time of year. I can't wait. It's so much
fun.
Know,
okay, so think about last year. I remember, Mitch, we had so much high hopes last year for our Raiders, and then it ended up being even more of a heart attack season as far as just our guts, you know, and losing all those close games. Well, this year, right now, we're in first place of the AFC West.
Yes, yes, no longer not in the basement. You know, actually, Denver was in the basement, but yeah, we're tied for first. So if all holds well, if we stay where we are, then the Super Bowl is in our sights. But we have to play 17 games, and it's all about.
Well, there's that.
It's all about that first game, and so all the attention should be on Week 1's opponent, which is Denver, and it won't take much to get up for those guys. Believe me.
Well, don't you think about this, Mitch? The fact that the draft comes and you start thinking about football, and then everything else is rumors and maybe some deals get done, but it's for real. And now it counts. Now you can actually start rooting for the reals.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, all preseason, everyone's, what are you guys going to do without Josh Jacobs? I'm like, listen, I really do think that was all planned. Keep him out of preseason so he stays fresh. Come in, he signs that contract, albeit the franchise tag 1 year. Still a hefty contract, but you want security. But he didn't have to go through the wear and tears of summer. And so he'll come in, he'll be awfully fresh. He's got 2 weeks under his belt to run around and reacclimate himself with the team. And he'll be fresh to start Week 1. Why wear him out? And I think the same could be said for some other big-time holdouts around the league. You know, they're signing contracts today, and they're in camp. So I do think that part is a ploy.
So Josh Jacobs is now wearing Ray Guy's number 8. he's number 8. He got rid of the 28. He is now officially number 8, which just everybody has a 28 jersey. He's like, oh man, come on. But that's a big change.
That is a big change. You know, the NFL changed their stringent rules about who can wear what as a player. I was watching a preseason game earlier this year, and in Detroit, I can't even think of his name offhand. The quarterback wore number 50. Although
yes, I saw that.
Although as the season has progressed, I think he's in number 17 now.
But isn't that funny? You know,
it was so weird to see, and it's weird to see the big guys on the defensive line with a single digit. You know, just this massive man, and he's wearing number 9 or something. That's crazy.
It's funny when you look back at some of the games, like I'm talking in the 80s and the 70s, just the camera angles and the graphics. we've gone so far to where it's like it looks really old sometimes. I'm like, look at all the pads.
Oh, the pads, huge pads. Everybody's got smaller pads now. The guys used to wear the hip pads. Hell, you can't. If you're not a football fan and you watch an old game, you don't know what down it is. You don't know the distance.
Yeah.
You don't know how much time is left. All. I was watching an old game and I'm like, how did we keep up? Well, the only way we kept up is because we're true fans and we knew the down and distance, we knew the time, and you knew where to look between plays to get all that information. Now everything's on the screen the whole game.
I never really thought about that, but maybe that's why football has grown as far as fans. You don't have to know so much to be a fan. It's kind of all right there. It's a little easier to describe.
Yeah.
And then plus Madden, the video game, I think that helped kids understand football way more than I knew at that age.
Big time. And then you have Nickelodeon that has a game every now and then where they superimpose everything on the game and there's slime and I mean I've never watched because I'm a purist. I can't be confused with everything going on with the CGI, superimposing slime onto the field. I don't need to see all of that. But
the Manning cast, I did like that.
Oh, that's different because those guys know football and they make it entertaining. I mean, I can't do the slime stuff, but I can do the Manning cast. And then I'm mad at myself when I forget that it's on. I'm like, I missed 2 quarters, and then I flip it over.
But I won't watch it. I won't watch it with the Raiders playing. Now I'll watch it with someone I don't care about.
Okay. Okay.
It's hard for me because the Raider game. I mean, I like their stories and I like that stuff. I might go watch it after the fact because they rebroadcast it on YouTube or something. But it's awesome. I really like it.
Now, way back when, did you used to turn the TV down and put Bill King on the radio because they were so synced up back then? You could watch. Yeah, my family would turn Bill King on. And for those of you don't remember, Bill King was the voice of the Raiders and the Warriors and the A's. He did all 3 teams here in Oakland at one time, but the Raiders were his main team. We would turn the sound down on NBC because that's a channel that AFC games came on back then, and you turned Bill King on, and my God, he called everything. I don't know how he saw it all so much, but he was amazing, and we would watch games that way.
Oh, and his famous saying was "Holy Toledo."
Holy Toledo.
that was way before Omaha. Holy Toledo was his big call. Yeah, and then I even like Greg Papa. I liked him.
Greg's
in
really
fact,
good.
To me, I know he's the Niner guy now, but to me, he's the Raider guy.
He is. He is. It took him a while, but he's in. I caught one of their preseason games, a simulcast, and he's one of them now. Although it still sounds like Raider game when you hear the voice.
Well, I see that's one thing about you and I. We're fans first, and we didn't have I've worked at radio stations and I've got traded to another radio station. Well, then I didn't like the other radio station, So I could see as a player, you'd be like, hey, But the Raiders, one good thing about them is Al Davis would give you an extra 2 years if you were a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't deserve it, Yeah.
But that is true. It worked in the 70s and 80s. And to an extent, somewhat in the 90s. Did not work that well when they came back from L.A.
Well, but the thing is, it was a different time. I try to explain it without sounding like an old get off my lawn old man. But a lot of the players in the '70s had jobs other than football.
Oh,
they sold insurance or cars or whatever.
And let's not forget there were 6 preseason games. You used the preseason to get into shape.
Yeah,
everyone came in out of shape because they were leaving a job that they worked for 6 months, and then they would go to camp, work themselves into shape, and then play the season. That's when back at 14 games, and then when they switched to 16 games, preseason went down to 4 games. I think they just need to do away with it. But you're right. The guys work jobs in the off season. Up until about the mid '80s, guys, then you were making a pretty decent salary, and you could train year round.
Hey, I was going to tell you, I would recommend if you get a chance, and I took a tour of the Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium. Have you done that yet?
Yes.
Isn't that fun? I mean, you get to go in the locker room, the press room. I jumped up there. I'm like, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I got to make a speech. Every Raider fan should do that.
It was incredible. That's all I can say. My God, that
Yeah.
stadium is a palace, and it was. Having been all through the Oakland Coliseum, wow, put the suits. There's no comparison. I mean, this place is simply incredible, and if you get a chance to take a tour, it's well worth it.
Well, but okay, so the Oakland Coliseum, I hate to always go back to it, but there was a charm to its oldness.
Yeah.
There was a the fact that my seats were center field at A's game, on the railing, but they were great football seats.
Oh, no doubt. So, baseball, you have Wrigley that's still very old, and you have Fenway that's still very old, and they have this charm, and they've embraced that, and they promote that. There was no way to promote that old football stadium the way they do.
Well, they got rid of that. It used to be the 70s, the candlestick was the Giants and the Niners. And it's too awkward, and it's baseball. I think you need to be closer.
Yeah.
There's a different feel to it.
It is.
And then the AstroTurf was horrible. It was like cement. It was like playing in your garage with a little bit of carpet.
Well, yeah, San Francisco, but Oakland was always grass, but
yeah.
We were the last team, because in the 70s there were multi-use stadiums all over baseball and football. So you had a baseball diamond on many football fields around the country,
Yeah.
and it was no big deal. But with these high-priced players, I remember one team came in, they were like, "What are we playing on? Is that dirt?" And you could hear them grumbling. I was on the sideline, and I could hear these guys, and it just, I laughed because a lot of them were not familiar with the fact that Oakland was the last stadium with multi-use.
Well, we saw Carr, we saw Gannon all play second base. They're all like they're like shortstop running a play, and it's just
my goodness.
Or kicking off the dirt. They had to do that a couple times
kick
too.
Off the dirt, or run plays away from the dirt to the grassy side of the field.
Right.
Yeah.
So
is grassy a word?
Well,
yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, but so this year, I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't want Garoppolo. I didn't want Daniels. In a side of me was slightly kind of embracing the Brady might be their quarterback, and as I get closer and I realize I don't have any say in anything, I don't get to make a decision, I'm rooting for the Raiders. You know?
And, I went and looked at Garoppolo's stats. He's a career 70% passer. And his quarterback rating is 99.6 since the 2014 when he came in. This guy is a winner. And I don't know why so many people are down on him. It baffled me what San Francisco did to him by saying, "Hey, you're not going to be our starter. We're giving this to this rookie." And then they shipped the rookie out of town, and Garoppolo's gone as well. This guy has only won. He's had one losing season since he came into the league, and that's the season where he got hurt. So he went 1-2, and so he lost. I mean, a losing record, but he was injured, so he couldn't really get out there and compete. But he's 70% over his career winning percentage, and he's
as a guy,
and he's a career 67% passer. So he's completing
well,
I guess for passes.
Me, because I'm from Fresno, because of Derek Carr, I thought Garoppolo and Carr are very similar, and I didn't see it was going to be that much different. So I guess but I'm getting over that. I have to move on.
We do, and in the media, I don't know where this is coming from. They're looking at Jimmy. I like to call him James Garoppolo, just to be a little different. James Garoppolo.
He's like James Bond. It's he could be the next James Bond if he had a British accent.
But I don't know where the media they're making him out to be some sort of loser, and I don't know where that comes from. Now he got injured, but injuries are part of the NFL. I mean, Curry here, Stephen Curry was considered a loser for a while because he had the ankle injuries early in his career. Now no one would dare call him a loser. I think you're onto something. But I also think because of his injuries, it's not that you're a loser; they just can't depend on you. You know. But it's part of the game. I mean, running backs get injured. That's why you have multiple running backs. That's why you have multiple everything on your team. People get injured, and to consider someone a loser who has, again, a career 70% winning percentage as a starter, that's pretty impressive. That gives you 11. That gives you 11 wins every year with this guy under center. So, I forget what everyone else says. Forget what the media says. I'm embracing this guy this year because that's better than we've had in a long time. And I loved Carr, but he's gone.
Yeah.
So now we've got to ride with this guy, and I'm going to ride with James Garoppolo.
I remember a couple years back we drafted Robert Gallery. Now, if we would have drafted him, we could have got Larry Fitzgerald. My last name is Fitzgerald, right? And so I'm disappointed. But now this year, Mitchell Adams is a star of our team.
Yeah.
That's got to feel great.
It does.
I mean,
I ran into Devontae up in Tahoe. I was with my twin brother, and we were at the Century Golf Tournament. And I'm like, oh, there's Devontae. And Devontae's sisters played basketball here at Oakland High when they were in high school. Okay. Now they're down at LSU. But they hung out with my friends' daughters. And so Devontae was always in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Loose, but I mentioned all that to him. He said, oh, yeah, I know your buddy Trevor. Yeah. So, and I'm like, let's take a picture. So we did Adams, and Adams, like a law firm. Me, Devontae, and my brother Richard. And so...
Well, I think you and your brother should get a Taco. You need to get a Taco Bell in your house like Devontae, and then we got something going on. Although I think that ruined him last year. That was the bad part. So I don't want. He needs to get rid of that Taco Bell.
I'll tell you what ruined things for him last year is that our receiving core was besieged with injuries, and you've got Hunter Renfrow back this year. You've got Jacoby Myers on the other side, and there was a couple rookies that played very well in the preseason. What was the guy's name?
That guy, the fast guy,
Carter, DeAndre Carter. Yeah, well, he's going to be probably our return man, but for us, it's going to be like having Tyreek Hill out there, similar. And if you could put him on the field with some big names, and don't sleep on this tight end. Michael Mayer.
Oh,
my
I just
goodness.
watched the thing on him, and he's incredible. He's got the Dave Casper number going for him. I love that.
But I loved Waller, and wish he was still here. But Waller, and I saw New York playing him out wide like a receiver, just a big receiver. So I don't know if he's going to be really playing tight end, or maybe he'll be like Shannon Sharp was, kind of a hybrid. But Mayer is a big dude who's going to block and then slip out and catch those passes. And so it's probably going to be block first, catch second, which is going to really help the quarterback because he'll be able to be right there in the flat left or right and pick up some yardage, 5-10 yards as a safety valve. You watch that Michael Mayer is going to be something special. And that's just going to open up the passing game. And, what did they say? The best ability is availability.
That's right.
Nobody's injured right now. Waller was out all last year, pretty much, and so that receiving core was hit hard, and I think that's why Josh had such a big year. But you come back with the number one ground gainer in your backfield, and that receiving core with a quarterback who throws at 70% completions. 67% completions, 2/3 of his passes.
You're firing me up, man. You're firing me up right now.
Man, Our offense wasn't bad last year. We had all those leads. It was the defense that gave up the booty in those second halves.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave up 5 double-digit leads last year. So This offense, in
That
my
was last
mind,
year. We're moving on.
this offense in my mind is better.
Right.
And so if we can jump out to some leads, and that defense, let's hope Chandler Jones is in the fold. But that kid, Tyree Wilson?
Wilson, yeah.
Man.
Well, here's my thing. I'm not going to ask you to, like last year, I say, okay, who's going to win? We're not even going to ask that because we already know where our heart's at. And we can't say the other team, and why would we? So we're not even going to ask that. But I want to leave you with this, that Mitch Adams has the perfect rotation. And the perfect rotation, that's how you find out. He'll teach your kid how to shoot a basketball. And then when you get to the pros, you have to invite me and Mitch to your kids' games, all right? So we want to see that. But look at that. Perfectrotation.com.
Perfect.
Right?
Yes, sir.
That's how we do it. Mitch invented that. Mitch, thank you so much. We'll see you next week when we talk about the victory of the Broncos.
Yes.
All right?
Yes. And I'll just leave it here, Charlie. This defense with Marcus Epps, I have to say it, at strong safety, he has rubbed off on Mooring at free safety. And then you've got Marcus Peters at the other corner. Man, our defensive backfield is probably going to be much better. And then the linebackers. Our defense is going to be much improved over last year.
I agree 100% with you, and I can't wait.
So let us just win half of those games that we gave away last year, and we'll be like a 10.
Yes!
We'll be like a 10-win team.
Yes. Giddy up, Broncos. Let's do this.
Let's go.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.